Good evening, good afternoon. This is the Town of Darien Sewer Commission, regular meeting on Tuesday, June 6, 2023 at 4:30 PM in room 206 of Town Hall. Meeting's called to order on time at 4:30 PM. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of May 2nd, our last meeting.
Go ahead.
I see nothing in the content. I don't know about grammar. Not my forte.
Susan caught
Well,
some
there,
big,
I just
big
caught one.
spelling error.
It's just a spelling error. Tiny.
You do it.
Under number 8,
Huge.
Mr. Hutchison made a motion to authorize staff to do the physical excavation necessary to locate the lateral.
Right.
Third. I thought maybe it was a type of lateral.
THR?
I never know.
The,
Well, maybe, I don't.
Maybe,
Not lateral.
maybe he meant there.
THR.
Or their
That
lateral.
could be there, yeah.
did you catch the same one?
Yeah,
All right,
Well,
we
that
like
was it.
this.
so I don't know.
Somebody's got a motion,
Make a
somebody's,
motion to accept the minutes with the correction.
I have a second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on the motion?
Full camera.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, okay, I've got to get to the Park and Rec Department before they close at 5:15, just something to set that. Okay. Item number 3,
Hurry up.
or maybe I'll just run out and go do what I need to do.
No.
But,
Since this could be fast.
it could be fast. We have one sewer user fee appeal for 210 Middlesex Road, 1 Merrill Waters. Yes, yes. Is this something we can handle without Ms. Waters?
I think we can with the
Oh, yeah, look at
with the
that.
chart and with the receipt.
Woof.
Yeah, that looks,
Valid.
So I would make a motion that we amend the bill to the minimum, which is, I forget what it is.
hired a good plumber.
Right on the bottom.
36.
267.30. Oh,
Right on the, Penny knew you would ask.
okay,
267.36.
Is that a motion? I'll give you a second.
yes.
All right, we got a motion and a second to grant the appeal down to 267,
267.37, right? Is
267.
that what you said?
36.
36.
Sorry.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Item number 4 on the agenda, we saw a preview of this last time. I forgot my thicker packet from last time, so hopefully I can do it by memory. Yes,
Sorry,
sir.
I'm gonna ask, because these two may
Oh,
go into a conversation. We do have a guest in the audience,
well, we can take the agenda out of order if it is most convenient for our guest.
and I present it as a request.
Granted. So what are we talking about next?
Okay, Darren, this is 223 Long Neck Point,
6C,
6C.
low pressure lateral location.
Yeah,
So if I told you we found it, would you be surprised?
No.
I would be happy.
So would I. No, we had no luck finding it. We did ground penetrating radar out there. It wasn't very expensive, so I thought
Give it a shot.
give us
See
a
if it
shot,
works.
because we were getting some price, we were at the same time getting prices to dig the street that were quite large, so we gave it a shot. We found an area we thought was a viable location near the water coming off the street. Unfortunately, we didn't find it there. The contractor was nice enough to dig for us out there. We did ask him to keep track of his time and his hours, in case, later there's an opportunity to talk about expenses. But at this time, we don't have a location of the lateral.
What's the plan?
Mr. Darren, how are we doing with the quotes?
We have quote to dig, and it includes rental of a plate. The only thing left for us to do is, if there is no lateral at the main where we're planning, where we're gonna measure out and dig, we're talking about a tapping sleeve and valve situation, so we have another one right down the street, so it's becoming more and more important to know how to tap one of these mains, apparently. So,
Do we know how to tap the main?
We have never done one before.
Do others know how to
And
tap the
so the
main?
reason why
Yeah.
we're moving so cautiously right now is now we have two.
Do we own the equipment to do it?
No, no,
I
nor
mean,
nor would
do-
I want to.
Do
dig that.
other
Oh, you
people-
want to call someone in?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the plate thing was to dig at the location on the sewer lateral map. Maybe they came off a certain distance and stopped, whatever they did. We'll dig down, we'll give ourselves a little latitude, we'll dig 5 feet in each direction, maybe we'll catch catch some luck, to see if we grab the lateral T that comes up. And
Do
at
other
that point, if we
people know?
find it, we'll follow it in, and if not, we'll plate it and then bring back someone to tap it.
Do we have someone in the wings that we could hire to tap it?
There are.
That's what we're working on.
That's what we're working on.
Right.
We can't seem to find someone that has tapped this type of pipe yet. Looking for Butterworth and Check. We've, Inkles and McCoy, they do mostly gas, but we're gonna reach out to them too. They haven't gotten back to me. Just anybody that's tapped plastic gas should be able to tap this.
I tell you, I'd rather, well, look, I would proceed as quickly as you're able to. But I feel like, all signs point to bad luck so far. So
Unfortunately.
having someone ready when we dig up the road to just put the tap in, even if we have to pay a couple of $100 for the parts and
No,
not
that-
use them.
That is our plan.
Yeah,
As
okay.
soon as we can find someone, line them up, it's going to be dig to
Okay.
find. If it's not found, then
Tap
we're gonna
it,
want him
same
to come
day.
and tap it
Yeah.
while the street's open.
Okay.
Of course, you'll have an observer there to watch them tap.
No need for that.
No?
Yes.
Then you can do it
We're
next
looking,
time.
we're looking at shutting that system down
Oh.
and taking some pressure off that line so the wet tap is not really a real wet tap. Draining the system out, making sure the people that upstream are notified.
How do
want
you
to shut off all the
Do
back.
that with a low pressure force.
Well, we have a manhole just downstream. We can shut that.
So you can close the valve, but then
We're gonna.
how do you stop all the U1s from trying to push into it?
We're gonna have to ask the folks not to use them.
How many are there?
Counting upstream, I thought there were 8 to 10 more homes.
Is the other one you need to tap also on Long Neck Point?
Yes, it is. Same road, just up the street at 78 instead of 223.
Is that where
Where
we
the
Wow.
old school, where the old school is. 94, I
they
think it is.
created those extra lots for subdivision?
Well, that'll involve shutting down quite a few more people, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
These taps don't, especially this size pipe, they don't take very long. It's the setup.
Is there a check valve right after the tap that would stop? So could you plumb
There's
it all at once?
There's a
On the-
valve, there's a valve
On the service line?
on the service line.
Yeah.
So there's no check valve, there's no 2 check valves per house, it's just one?
Just
at the
There's a
pump.
service line going out.
Got it.
And what is the pressure of the line?
I mean,
It's
the
nowhere
pipes,
near
yeah,
the testing pressure.
the
60
testing pressure is
60
probably,
pounds.
yeah.
So if you look at
Oh,
where
60?
St.,
Oh, I heard 300.
well, that's what we
That's
test
the
for.
test too.
Oh,
So if you look at St. John's Church, the difference in elevation between Long Neck Point and St. John's Church, that's the head.
okay.
So if it's 100 feet or something, I don't know what the
Then
calculation
it's
is.
43.1 PSI, it's
Yeah.
.43.
Plus a little move it along.
0.431 PSI per foot.
Wow.
Okay.
Well,
40
plumbers
40
just say
feet
half
sounds
pound
right.
per foot.
Riding up that hill.
Okay, well, that's not what it was on my test.
So you can understand why we're being a little cautious right now, and I know the owner would like us to move along, and that's probably one of the reasons she's here, but I do have to be cautious with the way we put this together, making sure that we do this right,
Yeah.
and get them a lateral too at the same time.
And was the as-built done by a surveyor?
It's done by the contractor, but
Oh.
he had done all of the others.
And you found all the others.
Yeah, no, I just wondered if it was done by a surveyor.
Yeah, I mean, look, you never know. A guy doing a tape tie and versus a number, and all of a sudden you have no idea where it is.
You're measuring from a manhole, it's usually very difficult to mess that up.
Yeah.
But, be that as it may, we do have to continue moving forward on this, and that's what we're planning to
All
do.
right. Well, of course, you feel our desire to make it happen as quickly as you're able to make it happen in a way that, of course, is safe and provides a permanent installation.
Well, we're getting some help from the other project, because their engineer's doing a lot of the research on the sleeves, and trying to get us one that we can approve.
Yeah.
So that's going to get us to a
I'm
better.
surprised it's not easier to do. I mean, it's like, it's a 2-inch line. You can hot tap it. I mean,
Yeah.
what's the problem? It feels like it should be easy.
It's getting the proper sleeve for the proper pressure.
It's the type of pipe and the diameter. If it was a ductile iron pipe, we could tap and sleeve and valve that and pressure test it to 600 pounds or something. But it's a 2-inch PVC pipe, and when you take an inch out of that, you know, there's
Yeah.
not much left.
Pipe integrity
And then-
is a question.
It
So
has
the
to
sleeve
be
has to be
band.
long.
If you're gonna go through the hassle of turning off the valve and telling people to,
Dual bolt.
not flush the toilets or shut down their systems, why not just cut it and put a full fitting in?
We're gonna have a whole lot of raw sewage we're gonna have to deal with in the pit.
And we did talk about that. The other thing is, how would you do that? Now you're talking about a repair clamp, which inherently has sharp edges where hair and toilet paper catch.
How do you cut, how do we drop the T in place?
You'd have to dig both
You'd have a
ends
T,
and
a
fold
piece
it
of
in.
pipe, and a repair coupling, so it went down, slid over, and slid back.
Yeah.
And the repair coupling is what
That's what
concerns
scares
us.
us.
Again, if it was a ductile iron pipe, you throw a dresser coupling on there and you won't have a problem, because you could crank those bolts and force the rubber so it was so tight. But SDR 21 PVC, just don't know how that would hold up. And in addition, you'd have two butt end cut pieces with a
A little separation in there.
Isn't it the
I
same?
would assume that the repair saddle clamp, whatever you want to call it, would be sufficient with that and the force of all the soil on it. I don't think it's going anywhere.
We were talking about even possibly pouring concrete around it of some kind, just to, so it doesn't move. I mean,
Okay.
anything to stop it, but
Yeah,
the band,
right.
they come 8 to 12 inches.
We're not gonna design it from the bench, I agree. Well,
But the only thing I ask is, I know the owner's here, maybe she has any questions. or
yeah,
any-
do you have anything you want us to know?
Oh, you want me to come up there?
Yes, please.
Leslie Sutton. My concern is,
A name, just so we get in the minutes.
oh,
said that,
Leslie
yeah.
Sutton.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I
That's
missed-
okay. My main concern is the time frame we're talking. I'm 2 months into this now, waiting for this, and that's my biggest concern. The excavator would like to get his equipment out of there and, go into
Yeah.
other things. So do you have any idea of what kind of time frame we're talking about?
I can't put a time frame on it right now. It's not gonna be 2 more months.
Oh.
That's all I
Wow.
can tell you.
I'll tell you, I don't wanna be talking about this a month from now.
It comes down to, the integrity of that system is the most important thing to me.
Well,
So the last thing he wants to do is 6 months from now, be digging out in front of your house again, having you shut off your sewer, because whatever we put out there didn't hold.
You're correct, I don't want that.
So
I mean,
being this is our
is
first
it-
one of doing it, and unfortunately,
Yes.
you're our first one doing this, I am going to take caution with the way I go approach it, but we are moving as fast as we can, with that responsibility in mind. I'm sorry you have to wait.
so here's
A
my
little bit longer.
effort to try to be creative and grease the wheels. If her contractor was otherwise complete with the site work that they need to do, and was ready to take the machine off-site, then we just have to get our own digger.
Yeah.
And I think we would just have to,
We would end up putting a lateral
that.
in with the valve, with the backflow and
Yeah.
check valve, and make the connection.
Yeah.
We'd end up having to do that ourselves, if he
Yes.
wasn't there.
yes. So, we shouldn't be holding anyone up from other than finishing your job, which is incredibly unfortunate, and we're sorry. But, we don't want a piece of equipment sitting around, not doing anything, waiting for us. We'll have to deal with it, whatever the time frame is, and if we can do it with your contractor, great. I'm sure he would prefer that too, but if we can't, we're just gonna have to get it done. So if you need us to say, spend what you think is reasonably necessary to provide a lateral to this property, we can say that.
That would be nice to hear, but I kind of thought you would put that out there anyway.
Yeah.
We're thinking along the same lines. If, we're gonna do whatever we have to do to get the lateral in. So if he brings it out to the street, stops it at the street, and he has to take his equipment off, and we're not coming till the next day, then we'll run it all the way in, we'll make the connection, and he's no longer there. But we will get her a sewer lateral.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
And I hope I don't see you next month.
Me too.
If I do, I'll bring
You
cheese.
seem lovely.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna jump back up the board and go in order? Sure. Any advancement on number 4? You had proposed a draft of something last time, but
I made the changes in yellow for you folks to just look at. I really didn't make much more to it. Kind
Did
of,
I miss it?
It's on the back, on the last page.
There it is.
The very back of the packet.
Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, yeah, we talked about something here, okay.
I did a little, I think I did a little bit more than you guys, you had talked about 2 different types of, not approaches, but 2 levels. One at, 30 gallons per day, or 3,000 gallons per day, and 4,500. So I gave you the flows,
Option.
gallons per day, CFS, and what the bedroom count would be associated with that, so that you kind of had that information. And one of those lines, I'm guessing, is going to disappear. I just don't know how you feel about it.
So basically it says, project of a certain size needs to provide us with a detailed flow assessment that will or could include flow monitoring at your insistence or direction, or our insistence or direction. And that the result of the analysis needs to show at least less than 87% of the pipe capacity used in order to have the easy button to get the connection approved. After that, above 87%, it has to be a discussion over, is it upgrades, is it abatement, is it whatever?
Is 87% dry weather or wet weather capacity?
That's a question for you guys.
Well, it's important.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
important question.
And the other question is, if wet weather, how do you define wet weather? Is wet weather 2 or 3 inches of rain like we got the last few weekends, or is wet weather 6 or 7 inches of rain like we got during Ida?
Well, should it be dry weather?
No, I mean, I think it
So
should
Cross
include,
wet weather.
yeah, I mean, so normally when we do these things,
Should we use metering though? Is that?
Yeah.
Is that a better approach than?
yeah,
dry
doesn't,
weather?
yeah, so you put a meter in the ground, or you put meter in the pipe,
At what point?
you put a meter in the pipe, you leave the meter in the pipe for 6, 8, 10 weeks, at least so you capture, some appreciable storm events. Usually you're trying to pick up something that drops more than an inch. And now you know exactly what flows down that pipe when you get a rainstorm,
And how long?
how long it lasts, the time interval, and then you say, that's what we're gonna use. That's the standard of care that I use in multiple municipalities. That's effectively the standard of care that was used most recently on 7 Sedgwick, because we had a meter in the ground for 2 months.
Yeah.
They had captured 3 rainfalls over an inch, including one of 1.8 inches. And we used the peak of the flow during that entire 2-month period.
So we'd say wet weather, but to be determined. We wouldn't say, we'd have to add something about wet weather, not dry.
Yeah, certainly not dry weather. You have to capture a rain event in your analysis, or anticipate a rain event in your
So
analysis.
we're looking at some type of peak instantaneous flow with
Yeah.
a substantial or a appreciable storm, I guess is the way.
Yeah.
And the proximity to the area of concern, it's the contributory effect of all of it to an area of concern. So the distance from a development isn't
Have
really
you
as
jumped
important.
down to the next
Yeah,
paragraph?
I'm jumping.
Before we jump down to the next paragraph, can we stick on downstream sewer capacity analysis? At what point is the Arcadis data going to become outdated?
Hopefully, as soon as we start making improvements to the system.
Well, also, you're going to get additional flows from new developments. So I'm questioning whether or not we should include this Arcadis flow metering, because it seems like that won't be,
Well, all of Arcadis flow metering are upstream of all the developments, if I recall.
Well, I would say,
Correct. I think we purposely did
so
that.
I'm just confused. Are we using Arcadis' flow metering, or are we asking them to do flow metering?
I think we start with existing data that we have.
Uh-huh.
If it doesn't fit what our needs are when we look back at this, we say, okay, you have to do more.
Okay.
You're gonna have to put in your own meter, and here's the location that staff believes it should be to give you the proper data,
Okay,
to give you
so this is going to be
analysis.
a document that will grow and be changeable, because it seems to me that the Arcadis data is great for right now, but in 5 years, it might not be.
well, we could say
Applicable.
consultant must review available flow meter data.
Okay.
And not specifically say Arcadis,
Yeah, I
and
would-
not specifically say the date, because it might be,
20 years from now.
yeah, or you get, someone does their own flow meter data and
What about
sewer
the
department has
5-minute
that information.
intervals? Because clearly not everyone uses that standard, as we found out with.
Well, they didn't,
this other group that
they
was
didn't
in
have the
place.
information the first time they presented they had a 24-hour number that they tried to convert into an instantaneous number. They didn't actually have the 5-minute intervals the first time they did the report.
But
Then
they also
then we gave it-
converted a different way.
They messed up that calculation
So, I
too,
mean-
so anyway, but, which is why you do a
But you have
peer
to remember,
review.
some of us don't quite understand all of that. We're trying
Yeah.
to make it clear.
Yes.
Yeah, 1 minute,
Well,
I
again,
tried looking it up, and 1 minute they're talking about the Manny equation, and next minute they're talking about the Hazen-Williams equation, and I'm like, okay.
And how
So, I
does
mean,
that
it
affect
just-
intervals?
It seems like it confuses the
Like
issue rather than
capacity,
makes
yeah.
it, it's clear as mud. I mean,
I think what it highlights for me is the necessity for engineers to look at it closely, whether it's our engineers or Arcadis as a peer reviewer, to look at things closely to make sure someone hasn't made a mistake or made a left field assumption or doesn't have the right data that you have. I think that's what I learned in that process.
And we are now always going to require 5-minute intervals to do the peak flows when they are doing their own additional flow metering. Is that the new standard, 5
Well,
minutes?
it's, when you put a flow meter in, it ticks a value on a regular time frame, whether it's 3 minutes or 6 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes. It's, the flow meter is, that's just like saying at this time, this is the flow, at this time, this is the flow, at this time, this is the flow.
So we're just going to say, make sure you use the proper math when you do this?
Well, that was a different, yes, that was a different
Okay,
issue.
that doesn't make me feel good.
It makes me feel fine because I know how to do it, but.
I know, clearly, there's a difference of opinion in how to do it.
There's a lot of ways to skin the cat.
It wasn't-
Greg.
again,
It's
so-
not just a math problem. There's a lot of assumptions that go into how you analyze these systems. They're complex and they're unique. That's my
Methodology, yes.
takeaway from all of it. And it's not as easy as one formula fits all.
Well, yeah, so
But-
it's, so to that end, I wouldn't put, this is the thing you have, this is the factor you have to use every single time, this is the
Okay.
time frame you have to use every single time. You just have to give us good information and do it right, you know?
And they may come to us and say, oh, listen, we have a meter, it does it every 3 minutes, is that okay? It does it every 7 minutes. That's fine, as long as we're in that range. So
Yeah.
5 minutes is
You're
industry
trying to
industry
figure out
standard for these
instantaneous
meters.
You could
Yes, it's a
convert it
seven.
anyway. It's just a math problem then. If it's 3
Yeah.
minutes, you do,
Yeah.
what, 2/5 or whatever the hell it would be to get to 5.
Well, the idea
It's
is not to not to miss the peak,
Right.
right? So let's not do it every hour, right? It has to be a little more frequent than that.
Oh, so is that what we're trying to say?
Which,
You're
that's
trying
what
to
the
get
5 minutes, trying to get you
instantaneous
down
flow in the
to.
system.
You're
Okay.
trying to find the spike, so.
More data.
I mean, the more times per hour you did it, the better information you would get, but there is a point where it's ridiculous.
So the first couple of times they did it,
I think
they
five's
took a
great.
24-hour peak.
I'm just trying to figure out how we write this, not, I
Yeah.
get now that
It's a hydrograph. Same thing.
I get all that part.
Yeah,
Same thing.
Do we can keep the sentence that says, they must review all flow meter locations, Arcadis,
Yeah.
and analyze system using peak flows, 5-minute intervals, whenever possible or as directed by town engineer?
Yeah, I would say consultant must review available flow meter data,
Can we put in most recent flow meter data?
must review,
Pertinent. Most.
recent and,
Recent and,
Only reason that we have some meter data from Malone and McBroom
Yeah.
that is 10 years old in
Yeah.
the same general locations. probably not something we would use right now.
Correct.
So I'm looking for the
So-
most
But,
recent.
yeah, again, that's, I mean,
I think we're
if you
limited.
looked at that, you would say, you shouldn't use that data, it's old. We've had increases in I&I and changes in development. We don't know. You should update your flow meter data, or you should use the more current flow meter data. It's like, why do you need to say it? But anyway.
I think that's how you should say it, though, not referencing Arcadis and 5
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, yeah, I agree.
I think it should be more general and not so.
Current flow meter data.
Current, pertinent, available. I think there's been a lot of words
Yeah, yeah,
thrown out. there.
available and current flow meter data.
Okay.
But by saying
And
yearly,
analyze
they're
it.
allowed to use that for their calculations?
With our approval.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Again, it depends. Was the flow meter at a location that is transferable to the location you're proposing your tie-in or the pipes that you're using, right? Maybe it was, maybe it isn't. So, can you use the flow meter data? Well, it depends. Where you tying in?
I wasn't consulting them that much, but I mean, the engineers that came and gave us that presentation have kind of sullied engineers for the.
Oh, please don't say that.
Oh, yeah, well, but they have, because if you're gonna come before and make a mistake one way or the other, you would think that you would make it in your client's favor, not against your client.
You would think. Well,
So I mean, I'm really at a
Actually, I
loss
wouldn't do that
here.
either.
They
but-
may have made conservative assumptions that weren't as
Well, they did. They-
accurate.
I
as-
think
They
it's
took a
past that.
24-hour flow and tried to turn it into
Yeah,
an instantaneous
instantaneous
peak
flow.
flow.
Right.
They did not have the instantaneous data.
Okay, so can we make this sentence now? Consultant must review all recent and available flow meter locations and analyze system using peak flows at intervals not less than 5 minutes, not less than 10 minutes?
Not less than 10 minutes if you
Not
want.
less than
It's-
10
How about
minutes.
instead of locations data, flow
Do
meter?
5, do 10, I don't know.
Not more than 10 minutes?
Not more than 10 minutes, not
How
more than
about
10.
rather than locations, how about data?
Data, I like data's better than
Because that
locations.
captures more than one location, and it's the cumulative effect of the
Okay.
whole damn thing.
All right,
Flow
I'm
meter
hearing a lot
data.
of stuff, but I gotta write it down.
So consultant
So-
must review available and current flow meter data for locations applicable to the project.
Okay,
Locations.
I was gonna say
Okay.
applicable data, but okay.
Okay, and analyze. system.
Analyze system using a peak flow interval of 10 minutes or less.
But do we need to say wet weather, peak flow?
That's in the
Well, again,
in the end.
if you've got the
Then we're
meter
gonna
in
put that.
and the meter captured a rainfall event, which you wouldn't have put a meter in and then taken it out without capturing a rainfall event.
Okay.
I think it's baked into the fact that there's flow meter data.
Right.
But-
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
And so, but we could specify, because you're right, someone might come and say, well, we looked at your 8 weeks and, yeah, you had this big rainfall event, so we didn't look at that, but we looked at the next peak, so.
It's perking land in Vermont, dry season.
Yeah, yeah.
Craig,
So-
I'd like to put something in there. I think
Yeah,
it's
what do
like-
you think?
Yeah, I was thinking that,
Including
At least-
captured rainfall
At
events.
least one rainfall event.
Yeah, yeah, including an appreciable rainfall event, or a rainfall event greater than 1 inch, or,
I was gonna say 1 inch plus,
25
okay,
inch storm.
I'm good with that.
yeah.
Okay, I like that better, thank you very much. Now, Nick, do you have that?
And then you could say, yeah, or as directed by town, your second bullet is consultant or town engineer may require, not propose.
Require, yeah.
Require additional flow meter locations. Period,
Yeah, not if needed, just period.
yeah. So remove propose and put require, and then put a period after locations and cross out if needed.
I just have
Yes, sir.
another thought altogether away from this, about this.
Yes, sir.
If somebody comes to us before going to planning and zoning. Shouldn't we, if we're doing some analysis, let them know we're doing it, planning and zoning, let them know we're doing it? The reason is that, somebody may be trying to do a project and, we get involved in it, and planning and zoning says, no way. Right?
It could happen.
I mean, it could, but it's better to know sooner than later. Isn't it?
It is. I don't know if we're putting the cart before the horse
I
or
have to-
something.
I have to-
This is a tough one, because we want them to come and talk to us
Yeah.
before they go to planning and zoning, to get them started on whatever
Well,
our.
they can always go for a.
Informal.
Informal review.
Yeah.
Planning and zoning hears
Look,
those
I-
all the time.
Okay.
Look, I'm behind the scenes a
A
lot
sense
on
of the,
development
sense of
projects.
Yeah, sure.
the commission.
You've already met, if you're meeting with the sewer department, you've already met with Jeremy or
Okay.
Fred and
Oh, that's
talked about
fine.
a project.
All right.
If you're doing the
That's
level of
fine.
due diligence required to talk sewers, you're
Practical.
probably doing the level of due diligence to say, does
Mm-hmm.
this thing make sense?
Yeah,
That's
this isn't a
practical.
single
I
house.
accept
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is a
exactly.
development.
Yeah.
that. That's practical, okay, good.
So the next paragraph?
Yeah.
I know Reese had one thing. My question was, at the very last sentence, what is immediately upstream? Can we have a
Or
measurement?
immediate, or downstream, rather. Right?
It says or immediately upstream.
Oh, where the flow meter is? Where is that?
It's required when the proposed development, and then there's three bullet points. At the very end of the third one is or immediately
Oh.
upstream. I would, immediately is kind of vague.
Oh,
How far
there's,
is immediately?
Any circumstances where evidence of lack of capacity is found, town engineer should, why I can't find this? 4.1.
You're in the required when the proposed development paragraph?
Oh, okay.
See where it's
third
highlighted?
bullet. I got
Where
it.
the
It's
bubbles are
determined.
instead of the
Yeah.
bullets.
Oh, yeah, sorry, bubble quotes.
Uh,
I'm just looking for a more exact
And-
measurement.
and I will tell you, my intent was not to be exact. My intent was
Well,
to give
I
us
kind
some
of
latitude to determine that if there's an area of concern that we know about, that, and we believe that there's going to be an impact, that I don't tell them it's 1,000 feet and they tell me, okay, we're only 1,200 feet away.
Why don't you say, is determined by the town engineer or sewer commission to be located either upstream or downstream of a sewer infrastructure area of concern?
Yeah.
And maybe just get rid of immediately. You could say either upstream or downstream.
Because if it's upstream, it's gonna add to the area of concern. So
How
I would
about
say
just
anytime that it's upstream, it needs to be.
Contributing to an area of concern, full stop. It's the location and the proximity that I'm not
Located.
buying,
Contributing upstream.
or downstream or anything.
Same thing, different term, but okay.
I like that better than immediately, because immediately is like, how far is immediately?
But I don't think immediately makes any difference.
As far
It's
as I
Like
can
like with Reese's
I
term,
can see.
contributing, even if it's the far end of that.
That's how I've always seen it. If there's a problem somewhere down the line, that's where the problem is. That's the relative relationship that we're looking for. It's not whether it can get there 500 feet, 1,000 feet. It's where are the problems and how does this relate to the problem?
And that's how the
Yeah.
EPA guidelines are written.
But the point is, he doesn't want to say it's 850 feet or it's 320 feet.
Yeah.
He wants to say it's related to the area of concern, so he can decide that it's
Yeah.
related to the area of concern.
Right, but it mentions
That's pretty-
proximities.
The latitude that gives us, with the knowledge of our system now, as we learn more and more, is to make sure that these developments
So
don't have.
I'm proposing to take the word immediately out.
I
and
take the whole
say
thing out.
to
Just
be-
don't even strike that.
Is
Just
determined by the town engineers or to be located,
Contributing to an area of concern,
To
not
be-
located. It's the located that's.
how about to,
Contributes.
how about determined by the town engineer or sewer commission to be
Contributory.
in or contributing to
Yeah.
an area of
Okay,
concern?
I'm done. That's great.
Okay, that I like.
Okay.
Yeah, because actually downstream of it, it could cause a puddling effect in the pipe and cause issues up pipe, right? Theoretically.
That's what he's getting to, like, is that problem immediately upstream related to something close by downstream, which is probably why he put the parenthetical in there, but
I was just
now I'm
asking.
speaking for Ed.
You're
I'm
thinking like.
sorry, I'm trying to write what you said.
Write and listen at the same
No,
time.
I know.
I can't do that either,
We're
I'm a
trying to
horrible note
stumble our
taker.
way through the verbiage.
He's really good at it. I stink at it. I'm sorry, please.
No. So is determined by the town engineer or sewer commission to be in or contributing to a sewer infrastructure area of concern. Is that kind of what you have written down?
Yeah.
That'll capture it.
To be, I got located within, you just want to say in?
Or contributing.
Yeah, whatever. Within or in, doesn't matter to me.
Within
That's
or
semantics.
contributing to
Within or contributing
a
to.
sewer infrastructure area of concern?
Yes.
Take out the whole thing in parentheses?
Yes.
Okay, got it. I was troubled with the contributing part.
But the worry that I've always had is if we have a log jam somewhere in the system that's too small or
Log
too many
jam, huh?
things. Yeah, why not throw that in there? It's kind of like triple the fun.
What are we, in
I know
first
you
grade
tried-
here?
I know you tried to get out of here in 10 minutes, but.
I've blown it. It's
yeah.
my fault.
That it relates
Right,
to the
take
whole
ownership
system,
of that.
and it's not just that it's near it or around it, or it's the whole, it's everything upstream of the log jam, for lack of a better word, that could be an issue. And extra volume matters at a certain time, maybe in a wet weather event, maybe not, but I think we need that flexibility to look at it that way.
I think the more and more we talk about metering, and the more and more we talk about dry weather, wet weather, you're gonna realize the more metering that we do, the less you'll talk about dry weather, wet weather. Because we'll have more data during storm events where it is the wet weather analysis. We're gonna use that data to give us those numbers.
Thank you for doing this.
sense. Yeah, thank
This
you.
is really looking good. I really appreciate
I
it.
appreciate your help on this. I was stuck in here. I didn't know which direction you guys wanted to go.
So another question that came up in our approval of 7 Sedgwick, and I don't know if it's written in here, and maybe we can answer the question or we can't, and maybe we give it the same open-ended language that gives you the discretion, or us the discretion, is how far downstream for what size project should you be analyzing the system? You know, is 1,000 feet okay? Is a mile okay? You know,
But
what's
see,
the-
that's my point, Craig. That's, you're chasing your tail there quickly.
Yeah,
It's wherever the problem is.
Yeah,
How's
that's
it
the-
relate?
That's the infamous area of concern.
Yeah.
Right. It's
If
not a
you're adding to the
proximity.
area of concern,
Yeah.
then,
I mean, if, say
Sorry.
Stanford only had a pipe this big and that's all they could accept, that would be our area of concern.
Yeah.
And we'd work all the way
Or
backwards.
the treatment plant? was that
Whatever it
capacity?
might be. It could be, as we have flow metering data at the pump stations, for instance, are those the limiting factor, the log jam? Where are the logs jamming?
I mean,
And
whether
then
it's,
look backwards.
whether it's a river crossing or going under Long Island Sound. I mean, there is a capacity to those pipes.
Mhm.
And maybe that's not an issue, or maybe we do have deficiencies in the infrastructure that cause certain events in certain areas.
I guess, so let's.
So I don't like the
you know,
idea of the proximity.
Yeah.
So it's not a dartboard.
Yeah, so it's not defined. It's not within 1,000 feet or within 2,000 feet or whatever. You leave
Area
it-
of most
you-
concern.
You leave it
Want to use most concern?
undefined.
Want to use most concern?
No, that's not what I'm getting at. I think what I'm getting at is there a, you know, so let's say we have a choice between 20 bedrooms or 30 bedrooms or 3,000 gallons per day or 4,500 gallons per day. So 20 bedrooms could be a 4-lot subdivision, 4 houses tapping into the system. Is it reasonable to place on that 4-lot subdivision the requirement to analyze the Stony Brook pump station?
Well,
let's
any of
say?
these threshold triggering things bother me,
Yeah.
because sometimes it shouldn't matter sometimes, you know, but what standard do you use if you're gonna go that route?
Yeah, there,
And that's
and it
more-
would be tough to define a standard.
That's where I defer to you, because you've done this in so many towns, and what are the other triggering events in other towns, and how do you do it?
I guess I would say, I mean, I think at some point, right, there is something that, man, it's funny, like when it's obvious, it's obvious. So in the case of, say, Kensett, you know, they're adding 60 or 70 4- and 5-bedroom townhomes. That's a substantial development. They're gonna upgrade that pump station, they're gonna upgrade that force main, that makes perfect sense. What if that development was 10?
Right.
Is it fair to say, you gotta upgrade the pump station, you gotta upgrade the force main, you know, like, is there
Well, all right, I'll throw.
When is it
I'll throw it back at
the
you.
developer's responsibility or the property owner's responsibility? When is it the town's responsibility?
Let's reverse the clock 2
Yeah.
decades and go back to wetlands. What's a
Yeah.
public hearing, what isn't? You remember, there's a
Yeah, yeah,
threshold
yeah,
there.
yeah.
It's
We
the
say,
remember that.
knock down rebuilds, we're gonna go
Yeah.
No,
public.
no,
you know.
exactly, it's the
If
same
you're
kind of, it's.
touching a wetland,
It's-
you're going
it's-
Public
public.
concern.
It's
yeah.
section 880 with 1,000 square feet, and then you've got to do
Yep.
drainage, and then you got to hire, you know.
And that's what we're trying to
engineer.
do here.
But right, all those things, you could go to the commission and ask, especially a public hearing, and that's how we adjudicate it at
Yeah,
wetlands.
yeah.
So
Yep.
maybe if anything more than four houses, ask the commission, yay or nay.
And
How do
I-
you feel?
and I
And
get-
then that takes the burden away from staff for being that threshold adjudicator.
And in some ways.
I know that's crazy and it's more time and
And in some ways, we did make that decision on Seventh Sedgwick. We had one commissioner that thought there should be more study further downstream. You were probably a foot on both sides of
I
that.
just thought a year was a long time to sort of frame the question.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And,
All sides.
yeah, you were trying to be kind of fair.
Just looking at it,
Process,
yeah.
yeah, which is another
Yep.
totally amorphous, weird, non-standard place to be, right?
Uncomfortable for me.
And, well, and for any engineer here, so, but, so basically, when there's gray areas,
Yeah.
staff takes a pass at it, commission takes a pass at it, and you
I mean,
figure out the right choice on the
One
gray.
of the options, I know, EPC was ask the chairman, and then you guys say, what do you think? Well, we could bring it up, and we do have other
Should
business.
this be a public hearing?
Other
Should this
businesses
be
easy to-
administrative approval or not?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We didn't have administrative approvals back then.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's a new thing.
Yeah,
Of
well,
course,
they're
this
good.
is all informal,
Yeah,
and
I mean,
after the project is hacked apart by planning and zoning, might be an entirely different project.
So we're back to the question of, is this is this 10 two-bedroom apartments or 4 or 5 bedroom houses? Or is this 15 two-bedroom apartments or 6 5-bedroom houses?
well, I mean, it
Where do we set
could
this
be,
down?
could be restaurants too, dude.
Yeah.
And it depends
We're
on the
related to that
location.
amount of flow.
It totally depends on the location.
Yeah.
A public hearing is when there's public interest.
Well, I'm not saying public hearing, I'm saying, we're saying with this
Right.
document,
Same idea.
this is more like the 1,000 square feet of impervious coverage.
It's
This
a
is
hard
like
and
when you
fast.
have to do the full study versus when you don't.
What would you feel comfortable with if you had to pick one?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to, I appreciate,
The effort.
it's like getting a permit in Greenwich
Oh.
for a deck. You gotta spend more on your permit than on your deck.
How about moving a lot line as a full subdivision application with a 100-year title search?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
And I have appreciated Darien in the past, ever since I started serving on wetlands, that, you know, we try to respect the property owner. So on the one hand, I would want to go higher, but on the other hand, you have the, it depends on the situation and where it is and what it's discharging to. And I also worry about, you know, we could set it at one level and we could change it in the future, right? Because the things that we're thinking about are the developments we see, we don't see.
We don't see what's coming.
The liquor
Yeah.
store turning into a laundromat.
Yeah.
And now a guy that's running a laundromat is
Way
doing
over
a
this.
freaking sewer study, you know? Because he's gonna generate more than that in a day. So, and it's also more work for staff,
It
right?
does sound like it's saying, though, that it's totally up to staff to decide, and it's going to be required
Yes,
in these instances.
but we have to pick
But-
one of these two lines.
Oh, I'm
No, we
sorry, you
don't.
can come up with your. you can
Or pick,
come up
or
with
pick a third one that isn't written.
3,750.
Wanna go with even 4? We'll just
No,
call it a-
3,750. I'm giving you, I'm conceding that much to you.
Oh, okay.
Since, I think I'm trying to recall what I had for the last one down, but when I was putting these numbers and I was doing these calculations, and I've done enough in my previous life sewer analysis and what are you looking for? I keep looking at the CFS and I keep looking at .005 and I go, that is
A rounding error.
absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
That's I can round it up.
Yeah.
So is one CFS something that we
Pretty
should?
close to being able to round it down, too.
Exactly.
So if we did the .005 and we didn't put bedrooms in there, just put gallons per day, and, Because I think the bedrooms, even
I just,
mentioning it,
I
I know
wanted
what
to
you're.
give you- I wanted to give you an idea.
I
of
know.
what the
Yeah,
development-
we were
It was for our,
Giving us
tax
the
was-
scale.
so we're getting rid of CFS, we're getting rid of bedrooms.
Yeah.
It's gonna be just gallons per day.
Yep.
For an increase, and it's gonna be no less than 3,000 and no higher than 4,500. It sounds like we're in a really small window to be talking about, so why don't we just throw a
May
dart
I
at the board
ask
and
a
move on?
question?
3,000 or greater.
Only because it has to do with the
375
study, and I have no
bucks.
idea how much studies cost. But how much was Acatus's bill on their peer review? To give us an idea of how much we're.
$4,200, right?
Last time so yeah, 42. They haven't sent it to me yet.
It was
So I say five-
The last
$4,200.
time I asked them
$5,000.
was 4,200 bucks.
Yeah, that came up at the last meeting.
Okay.
We had a discussion of whether or not they should have to pay for it.
And I think there was
Decided no.
the original scope on what they were supposed to do and what they actually had to do to get to a conclusion of the analysis. We're two different things, so I think that's why the number is much lower than previous.
I'll accept Bob's compromise at 3,750, just to move on.
Okay,
All right, that's fine.
that's fine. So increases peak flow by more than
30.
3,750 gallons per day?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. That sounds good.
I think we have the outline of a process.
Had I been pushed, I would have.
And once you have this done, if Jeremy
Now you tell me.
and Fred know about
Now I know how to
this,
negotiate.
Yeah.
they will, I know they'll work cooperatively with you.
Absolutely.
good anyway.
Absolutely.
I just know it, so,
So no bedrooms, no CFS, just
Yes.
3750
0 gallons per day.
Bob Hill.
Bob Hill.
Which
The
is
Bob
arbitrary.
And when they look at you cross-eyed at 3,750,
Give
I'm gonna tell them that's
Give Bob's
25,
number.
that's 25 bedrooms.
what are the last four digits of your phone number?
1380.
That's what it should be, 3,000,
1380.
380.
It's been the same phone number since 1958.
Okay.
Okay,
And I forget what the 65 used to be.
Mine is too.
All right,
Oliver.
item number 5, I&I abatement fee policy and fee. I have an update, if you don't have an update.
Darren was gonna handle this one.
Well, no updates since what we reported last month.
Okay, so with the permission of my fellow commissioners, I would like to hand out one sheet of paper that's relevant to item 5 on our agenda. Do I assume I have your permission?
Do I hear a motion?
Gentlemen, I got extra copies for you.
my,
We've all dealt with
I believe I
flowers.
handed out a piece of paper about 3 months ago.
Thank you.
No, I think you returned a piece of paper.
you're on camera.
So,
No, no,
I love
the
wild.
dear presenter.
Oh, okay.
So, when I first brought up this I&I abatement fee concept a couple of months ago, Peter said, it feels like we're adding fees to fees to fees, and it generated a list of 20 questions we needed to ask the town attorney about. And Peter said, why don't we just, have one fee, not fees and fees and fees? And Bob said, I'd be fine if we just increase our residential user fees, because our mixed use and commercial fees are pretty high based on the tap size. You remember those numbers?
Yeah, well, we're gonna need to raise those too, because if you remember, Parkland's didn't work out right.
Well, they based that on residential at the end of the day, I believe.
No, the report from Redness and Mead said that, that the one on the residential bedroom count was higher than the tap upgrade.
Yeah, but staff said, thank you, but no thank you. It's an all residential project, so we're going to do it based on residential units.
Oh, you can do that?
They did that. That's what I remember.
I'm a little confused, if you don't mind my asking. We're on number 5, right?
We're on
Yeah,
number
we just
5.
went sideways through.
We're on number 5. So let's not go sideways. Because I don't agree that we need to raise our commercial and mixed use ones, because I think those are much higher than what these are. But maybe we need to clarify to make sure that comment is addressed.
That's fine. I can live with that.
So what I'm saying is throw out the I&I abatement fee concept that I suggested,
Okay.
and instead adjust our connection fees, which we already have and already exist in our regulations, and we already have the authority to levy, in accordance with the values on this sheet. And I use 750 gallons per bedroom, because that was the $5 times 150 gallons per day per bedroom, which relates at least to the cost of the INI.
But that was on top of. So you're only, you're,
No, well, you said add 750 to each apartment,
yeah,
and I'm saying do 750 per bedroom, which, except for one bedrooms, is more than that. So in some cases, if you have a 2-bedroom apartment, I'm tripling the fee.
yeah, but you're tripling it, but well, 2-bedroom would be 1,000. Now it's 1,500, so you've
No, a
added
2-bedroom apartment is 500 under our current regs.
Yep.
2-bedroom apartment is 500? I thought it was per
Look,
bedroom.
the current fees are at the top of the page for you.
I thought it was per bedroom.
No,
Unit.
Oh,
it's per unit.
oh, that's even uglier.
So the current fees are $1,000 for single family and $500 for apartments. And what I'm doing is treating single family and apartments the same way by saying it's about the number
Per
of
bedroom.
bedrooms per bedroom. 750 per bedroom is a step change to our connection fees. And this is how it would roll for different sized apartments
Like
and houses.
250.
Would this, Craig, is this
You're up
just?
250, right? Am I right?
Well, a studio or
Well,
one bedroom
single.
would be up 250.
Yeah.
A 2-bedroom would be up 1,000.
Would this be inclusive of any additional bedrooms being added to an existing connection?
I think well,
That's Bob's method.
I would do it that way.
You would.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
You've always said then we're headed towards Stanford, Norwalk.
It's totally reasonable.
I think it's fair and equitable.
No, because they're paying for the use. The minute it creates more use, it's paid.
Oh, because it has a user fee.
Yeah, it's already hooked up.
Yeah.
And
But they're paying for the capacity when they add a bedroom.
Hmm.
They're not, the capacity and use are two different things.
it's just whether it's correlative, if there's more bedrooms equals more use. I'm not sure it is. In this town, with this environment.
That's irrelevant.
No, that is relevant.
No, that's not.
Absolutely the question.
Because just because now you have it that way, doesn't mean that's the way it's gonna stay in perpetuity.
I think on the low bedroom counts, there is a relationship. No, you go from 3 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms, you're going to 4 bedrooms for a reason. You had another kid, you need another room.
You're
got
thinking
a
too
nanny.
logically, dude.
You know.
Half the people don't live here full-time.
Well,
It's
I
just such a
disagree,
weird-
I disagree with this idea that we've got all these just empty mansions and that's all their Darien is. It's not true.
No,
Yes,
I'm
we
not
have
saying
some,
all their
but-
I'm saying, not saying it's linearly correlative that you add one more bedroom, you're gonna need more.
But that's the way.
Logically, yeah, it should be up to a certain point, and then it's not. 6 bedrooms, there's no
That's the way
way.
the health code works.
True?
So what we're saying is what you're suggesting is you're going to build the I&I abatement policy, I&I abatement fee, so there's no more
Into
policy.
the connection fee. So we don't have to go through the
We
brain
don't
damage.
need a policy, so we're just gonna increase these. I think it would be better if we could see what the mixed-use fees were and we would have a
Yeah,
sheet
yeah,
that
yeah, I
would
was
show.
gonna
I know
print
you
that,
did
yeah.
this probably
Well, yeah,
this
we could,
afternoon.
yeah, I did literally half an hour before I came.
I
So.
And you
didn't
know,
realize it was 500
When
per
you do,
apartment.
when you do
That's-
think about that, Greg, one of the things that we always concerned ourselves with on zoning is the possibility of adaptive reuse of large homes. Like in England, they split them all up and they
Yeah.
condo them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Condo as of right,
Yeah.
which would intensify the use.
Yeah.
Or a school, or.
What happens if we
a
start
group
getting
home.
accessory dwelling units?
Well, that's,
Should they
yes.
pay a little more on a connection fee?
All right, I could be talked into this. I don't like the idea of like, hey, you want to build just a bedroom, that it's all of a sudden it's extra, but it does.
All of a sudden, you add an apartment to a single
No,
family
that,
home.
you just threw in another curveball, and I agree with
But you're
it.
building in the I&I abatement fee as
Yeah,
well.
I know.
So I think
It's
that
raising-
is the reason to do it. It's not just
Yeah.
the bedroom.
Some people don't
And-
do additions and don't do things because of the headaches and costs that reach a certain point, they're like, I'm done. And that's
And these are
the same
I
totally
can
reasonable
understand that.
relative to the value of what you're adding to your
That's
home.
who, I don't know, would I want to pay $750? No way.
So then,
Set the
so then
circuit
are there
breaker.
parameters?
You wouldn't
like-
wanna pay
so here you go.
$7.50.
Here you go,
No,
back to
getting
back to the health code. The health code says when you're designing a single septic system for a single house,
Okay.
if you've got a functioning system, relatively modern, and you add 1 bedroom to your house, you don't have to change your system.
Because they made you oversize it to begin with.
They just say it's functioning, you could probably tolerate another
Who knows,
bedroom.
who knows? That's-
Right, so we could give a pass if you're adding
Just one.
Not a dwelling unit, but just a single bedroom. we
First
could say.
bedroom free?
Yeah.
Okay.
And get a beach sticker with it too.
Those are expensive.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, that's cool. I get that.
Yeah.
I mean,
But
in
if
the
you're creating
large-
another total number of dwelling unit on a lot,
Then
like an ADU.
Write the check.
I mean,
Write
if
the
you
check,
put
yeah.
up a 4-bedroom dwelling, and you're gonna add a bedroom, that
It's-
probably is enough, capacity there for the extra
Yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah.
Because all engineers, add a little extra.
You know what,
I don't
Craig-
know about that.
You know what, Craig, rather than carving it out in one example of I get a free bedroom, yeah, I'd go with this.
Yeah,
I would.
okay.
I'm just, my
So-
conservative nature rails
Yeah.
against it.
Well, I'm trying to make it
I know where you're going, yeah.
not another fee,
Yeah.
not another
I like
thing.
that idea. I
Yeah.
like Peter's
Alright.
idea and your idea.
So- And we're making it more equitable, and it relates more closely to
Use,
the
potential
cost
use.
of the capacity of the system, really, to Bob's point, it's the cost of the capacity of the system right now.
Which is where the INI stuff comes in.
Yeah.
I like this a lot.
And we can do it in a couple of months when we're doing our
Yeah.
fee analysis, public hearing,
And
we
then
usually do early fall.
Group it all together, just so
Yeah,
we have
September.
one.
Yeah,
One sheet.
September, so we're only
Okay.
3 months away from
Good.
September.
Goes quickly.
You'll be here before you know it.
Okay.
So,
Okay,
So,
good. I like that
guess what
idea.
I would say is, when you propose your fees, after you do your budget, or after we get the flow data from
Okay.
end of June, and we start talking about public hearing for potential fee increase, include this.
And that'll just make it easier.
Our
It's just
rate, when we
one
adjust
fee.
the rate.
And we can call off the attorney and stop spending money.
Mhm.
I like
Thank you.
that.
Yeah. Do we have consensus on that?
You like it, Bob?
You still think?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think how I thought that it was $500 per bedroom in an
You're
apartment.
you're stuck in your wheels.
Well, no, I mean, I would have been bringing this up every month if it was $500 for a 3-bedroom.
Well, we're
apartment.
here.
looks like 250.
We're here.
Thank you for your advocacy.
You've done a good job, like lobbying for,
The
we're
system.
here. This is
We
what
got it,
you-
yeah. It's taken you months and months, but
Chip
we're
away
here.
with me, and I'm agreeing to it. That's
It's not that I
scary.
don't listen, Just you have to say it a lot, just ask me my wife, but anyway. Um,
All right.
Okay, I agree in principle.
Okay,
When do we discuss the nuts and bolts?
well, normally, we'll look at Ed's budget, Ed's proposed rate increases. We'll define a window for where we're going with those rate increases, and we'll schedule a public hearing, so we have more time to discuss it
Well,
before it
this is
happens.
different than just increasing fees, because you're changing the fee structure by doing it per bedroom now instead
Yeah,
of apartment.
you gotta change a few more
Do it.
words.
Just do it all at the same time,
Yeah.
because
It's
people
all
want to come
public
in, they
hearing,
can come
so we
yell
gotta take that.
all at the same
Yeah.
time.
We gotta reshape
It just
No,
makes
never
it
change
streamlines the yelling.
Yeah, we have to reshape.
Get them all in one room, one
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
night.
one night.
People
Once in
come
a
in.
while they do, yeah.
Oh, we had people come in the last time. I
Get
knew
3
one of them.
people.
We
Okay.
There were a couple.
value the
Input.
opinion
Always.
of our users.
I always give great credit.
Because honestly, a lot of times they come up with something we hadn't thought of.
I know.
They see
And for
it.
them to come in and speak is always a big deal.
Sooner the better we put this in. Yeah.
Okay, so,
Well, we can talk about it again in a month if you want, after you guys have had a chance to think about it.
Let's
But,
do that, we'll bring the ordinance out.
yeah,
We'll see what we
see
can.
how bad the redlining is.
See how red the drawing is, yeah. And then give you
I have a
folks a
blue
shot.
pen, I use a blue pen now.
There you go.
When your red ran out.
So August,
You know,
August
you gotta worry
meeting
about the
is,
feelings of your drafters.
Look at him, he's got both.
Matters the importance.
you have both colors.
All right, are we on to the superintendent's report?
not
No.
yet.
Not yet.
August is the meeting I usually come and present the
Yes.
rate.
Okay.
So just so you have your, so
When you
next
might see it
meeting,
again.
I
Might
need
not
this
have it.
to put in, no, I need to put this in the ordinance so you can read
Take a
it
look at
and
it.
comment on it and
Okay,
make sure it reads the way you want it to read.
great.
That sounds, August sounds like a good target date.
Thank you, sir. Superintendent's report, item 6.
Yeah.
Don't forget to call off the attorneys.
Stop
You
the
want
meter.
to- Okay.
Do I have a button here? I send Wayne an email on my phone.
We reported last week that anything that you do for, I'm sorry, yeah, for A. Move to strike. A, we're hoping to have the specifications this week, by the end of the week. Arcadis promised us that they would get us the specifications.
And then you can go out to bid?
And then the following week, we hope to have the drawings. They said they would get us the drawings. And that would, then with that stuff in our hands, staff would review it, and then we would hope to bid before the end of June.
Okay. How long do you give for a response? 3 weeks, 4 weeks?
Yeah, I think we did 4 weeks last time.
It's a pretty big job. I'd give them some time, right?
They're good, though. They get it out to the ones that they know will bid
Yeah.
this, or have done the work with them before, so.
Yeah, so they know the spec and they know they plug in the quantities, they get a good idea.
Would that be fall? We'd be looking at doing that? Or-
So we're looking end of July, bid award, or bids, receive the bids. Sometime in August, award it all, and, you know, start getting this stuff. So we're looking at September start date.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah. B?
Ready to do it?
Yeah, Britt. Any
Okay,
questions?
I spoke to the Woodway resident today, who told me that the map has been completed.
Oh, yay.
We don't have it yet. I asked him to submit it to us so we could look at it and approve it, and the next step would be having a document prepared. I forwarded to him a
Sample.
easement plus sewer maintenance agreement, since there's going to be a portion of the sewer lateral that's shared. He thought that the Hoyt Street owner would take care of that, but I think both of them are gonna have to share in that cost of getting that done. He has that in his hand, that's where we are.
Does that get filed on the land records afterwards?
Yeah, the best way to do it is put the map, the easement map, once it's approved on the land records, you have a number, and then in the easement document, refer to the numbered
And write the
map.
number.
Yeah.
If you do it in that
Then it
two
gets
parts,
Picked up by a searcher?
yeah, then everybody can find it.
Forward progress, that's a good thing.
Thanks for working on that. That's been almost 9 months, a year.
Yeah.
Could be a year, because they were putting a pool in. Must be
Yeah,
last summer.
at least,
Pool
yeah.
house or?
I wanna say it was late in
That was on
season
Hoyt.
for pool until September, October.
D? We on D?
That's the one.
C,
with-
we just
Oh, we
talked about.
See, we did.
See, we
D.
did.
Took it out of
Oh, D.
Leslie.
Anthony Tacone, our sewer inspector, got a phone call from the contractor 3 weeks ago. And the contractor asked about what all the permit requirements were, what he needed to do in order to pull a permit. And he seemed hot to trot. He really wanted to get on this, and we haven't heard anything from him since then.
I mean, they were in here months ago.
Yeah.
At what time do we just kind of put it on the land record and,
Well, do we have to? Would the lateral file reflect that there's a defective, non-permitted connection?
We could put something with the lateral file, but we're not trying to be overly aggressive. It does sound like it's moving slowly. The homeowner has some interest in it because he's still using the lateral and like it not to back up in his house.
Oh, he's got,
So
that's.
he's got some skin in the game. So we'll politely remind him a couple more times, I think, before we
And we're
close the
trying to-
book on this.
So we're really
Just
trying to help.
Put
him.
something with the lateral file. I'll staple it right to the card.
okay, I
Sounds
just,
good.
that, yeah, I mean, at some point in time, we're using resources we really shouldn't have to use, in
I
my
agree.
opinion.
I agree.
That's
E,
a good idea.
Stony Brook Pump Station pipe
Oh,
We
yeah.
finally did the excavation and full abandonment. We did take the plug out of the pipe. We are now fully isolated from the Stony Brook old sewer and new sewer, so all the
Wow.
water is not going into our system right now from that location,
Every-
which was quite significant when you
Every
saw the
drip.
flows.
Every stop, drip.
I'm
makes me
sorry, I
happy.
had a thought on the long neck point. Sorry, I don't mean to.
Oh,
Have you thought to contact the manufacturer of the pipe, to see what their recommended procedure is for it?
I got 3 people already.
Yeah.
Names from white contractors and TM Wright just texted me back 3 names, people that do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give them to
To
them.
answer your question, I haven't.
But we did get letters from the manufacturer, and none of them were satisfactory to us.
And the manufacturers it was for the clamps.
The tap and sleeve valve.
Yeah, not the pipe. It was for the
Yeah.
fittings themselves. The manufacturers were giving us guarantees that it'll handle up to X, 150, but we're looking for 200.
And even if they gave us a assurance that it was for 300, they would say things like, we approve of the use of our tapping sleeve and valve for up to this pressure. I don't care if you approve of it. I want to know that it's going to work with an SDR 21 PVC pipe. I know it'll work on a ductile iron pipe. I want to know that it'll work on a 2-inch PVC pipe. So no matter how much we pressed, no manufacturer would give us strong enough language that suggested that we wouldn't have a problem, that it was
Yeah.
compatible with that application.
And the E1 will generate 200 PSI?
Those look very fancy and
No.
colorful.
We don't want to generate 200.
Awesome.
We're only gonna have 50 or 60 in the system,
That's what I,
but we
Just the
always
testing
test
pressure.
pressure to 200.
We just wanted to test out at that.
so, and I mean, so we're using belt and suspender theory. We wanted to make sure it's absolutely and I'm all
Yeah.
for that. I'm just
Every-
asking the question.
Every pipeline, there's a factor of safety, right? It's usually 1.5, so a water line has a working
It's a
pressure of
quiz.
100, it's usually tested at
gonna be a quiz.
150
It's a quiz, what
PSI.
are these?
So you were saying the working pressure was 60,
But then what am I
so
looking at?
you're going a
Well-
little higher than 1, which is fine.
We're going-
I don't know what I'm looking at.
all for
Ed's gonna
that.
tell
I'm
us in a
just,
second.
We could look at
I think
that,
that they should know what the due diligence that you guys are doing, that's all.
we could definitely look
Looks
at
like
whether it
pipe
makes
ends
sense
with
to have that
cleanouts.
pressure or not.
So they can take a look at it too.
But-
I'm sorry I didn't make copies.
Right
What
now,
is it?
that's what our requirements are.
We should look.
The pipe has to be
Bob might
pressure
know.
testable
Bob
to
might
this
know.
amount, so.
What do you want to know?
What are those?
What are they?
They're probably check valves. They're plug valves.
That was my guess.
That was your guess.
Wow.
Well, these are the plug valves, right?
Yep.
Yeah, those are
And
plug
the oil
valves.
tanks.
I think they're check valves.
So I had one item to add.
Is
It
there
came
a,
in
is there an arm?
just as we sent
Yeah,
out the
so it's a-
packages.
It's a spring check.
So those are
Inline spring check.
brand new check valves at
Inline
Near
spring
Water.
check.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are $10,000 a piece installed. They just finished them up last week, so,
Will
Which
that-
station is this in?
Near water.
Near Water.
The very,
will
very.
that- Did it backwater before and now they won't? They're like-
They were starting to leak a little bit. They're kind of pissing by a little bit.
Yeah, the
so.
seats start to erode, usually the corrosiveness of the water starts to pit them.
See, if you put 2 force mains everywhere, then you can always shut one down.
It's like, are you talking about
That's
like
correct.
Is
planes?
that a realistic thing?
Well, airplanes have redundancy.
That's why they put 2 in the post road?
That's why every airplane has
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, redundancy.
Who wants the picture?
That's
I'm
why
sorry.
They should keep it for the
I just
file.
wanted to show it.
Darren, I just texted those guys who, TM Wright and White Contractors.
Oh,
and they
thank you.
gave
That's
those-
why-
If
those
I got
guys
that wrong,
as
you just
possible.
come over here and
No,
smack
that
me
might-
in the back of the head.
Never would do that. though.
I opened a few
Here.
of
What I
those
wrote.
and,
You can
yes.
say what I wrote.
Oh, these names.
I
Okay.
chuckle at you a little bit, but that's
Thank
about
you.
it.
no, I was the plant mechanic for a while.
Okay.
I learned from
Man, what would we do without Bob?
That's good.
It just feels like a dance to
Good
me,
to know.
inline swing check.
It's good to know.
So new business? Are we on to new
Inline
business?
spring check.
Well,
Item 7, do we have any new business?
I do
Come on.
not.
What?
Hearing none, let's move on to item number 8.
I make a motion we adjourn the meeting.
I can always bring things up, but I'll just be quiet.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Channel 79, our meeting is over.
Check